What's up, everyone? I figured it's such a nice day outside I can daydream a little bit and put the top down, think about what it would be like to roll that bad mofo down the road. But what I wanted to do today for my video is I want to go over this convertible, some things that are specific to a 1955, 56, and 57 Chevy or Pontiac convertible. Because if you get one of these cars that's not complete, or if you're lucky enough to afford one that's restored, you don't have to worry about this. But like when I got this car, it was missing quite a bit of stuff, and there was really nowhere I could go or look for. I just had to be persistent and keep researching every day, because all I would see is like a bolt hole on the car. I wouldn't even know what went there, you know what I mean? So it took time. It actually took me probably a couple years to find what I needed, not only because I didn't know at first, but then once I did know, there's no extra original parts. And a lot of the convertible stuff, the convertible trim, they don't remake it, they don't reproduce it. So let's take a look, now that the top is down, what's going to be specific that fits just a convertible. And you can see right away the side window trim. It goes up to that point right there. This right here on both sides, totally specific to a 1955, 56, 57 Chevy or Pontiac convertible. And then this piece of trim that connects them, that's specific as well to a Tri Five convertible. All this stuff down here, it's common. It don't even matter. I mean, it does, because you need it. And another thing, people may assume that a hardtop door is the same, and it kind of technically is, but it kind of technically isn't. If you look at this piece right here, the tip of this window, the trim, see how that's smooth? It just rolls right on up there. It'll dip on a hardtop. It'll dip in for the flippers, to shut flush against that. So that's another thing. That's how you know that's a true convertible door, how it's smooth at the top. It doesn't kick in for the flipper. And then obviously all this window trim specific to a convertible as well. And they do make certain pieces, like they make this piece, and you could buy all this stuff. Like you could tell them are new. I've got the original ones. I started to, replace the stuff, and I'm like, I could live with a couple pits here and there. The windshield, or the rearview mirror bracket, convertible only. Another thing, them A-pillars. You could take a hardtop one and cut the tip of it off, but, I'll move mountains to have the original stuff, so them are original. And then you could see the trim that kind of finishes. That's specific to a convertible. All your defrost and all that stuff, no big deal. That'll fit out of any car. And then another thing, the wing windows. There's no barrel lock on them, on an original convertible wing window. And you can see in this car, them are not 1955 Chevy Belair convertible door panels. Them are Nomad door panels, and the kick panel as well. I'm going to try my best to put a Nomad interior in this car, a 1955 Nomad interior. The door panels, the seats, seat covers, things like that. And then another thing is this right through here on a convertible. See how that pillar's got another finishing piece of trim. So that's specific as well. So really on your doors, you just got to pay attention to that it's got the original wing window in it. And if you have to replace your doors with hardtop doors, you want to make sure you cut this inner structure off. And you don't have to, but you know, you want the right stuff on there. You could technically run a hardtop piece of trim through there, but I'd rather have the original stuff. I'd rather it be right. And then even this trim on the door, and even your inner garnish moldings, them will fit right off a 2-door hardtop. This piece and this piece right off a 2-door hardtop. Now here's another thing that you're going to run into an issue with. This piece right here, you would assume, oh, I could just take it off a hardtop and trim the back off. That's what I thought, but no. If you look at how skinny it is, and then it really starts getting fat, that's where you run into the problem. You got to find the original ones. And that's a pretty tough piece to find. These inner garnish moldings, them as well, convertible only. And then if we look over here, you can see them little 3 bolts right there. That's your convertible rear window pivot. It's like a cast iron bracket, and it's got a locking plate, and you need them locking washers. And you can actually, on the center of them studs, is like a flathead screw where you get your pitch of the window when it's up, whether it tilts in or tilts out. That's specific. Actually, this whole area is specific to convertible. The rear window crank is specific to convertible. So that's all stuff you really want to pay attention to. And even the rear armrests, they're a lot fatter. I call them rear armrests. Everybody wants to call them piston covers, but they're a lot fatter to clear your hydraulic rams for your convertible top. And then we'll move to the back. This is all your rear snap trim. It only fits the 55, 56, 57 Pontiac and Belair convertibles. And this is really big money stuff. And you can see how my snaps, they're kind of discolored. But to restore these, you know, for a high dollar car, they drill them snaps out, straighten the trim, polish it, and then replace the snaps. And for these snap trim, when they're restored, you wouldn't believe it, they want $2,500 for them 2 pieces of trim. So a Tri Five convertible is a very expensive car if you don't have the correct pieces for it. And then another thing is the rear seat. Totally 100% specific to a convertible. It's shorter. It's got a flat brace along the backside, where I believe your convertible top, your boot, snaps into it. And you can see how they're almost kind of like formed around that piston cover. So I wish I could have seen a video like this when I was trying to put this car together, because honestly, I mean, stuff is expensive for a Tri Five, so you don't want to buy it and it not be the right stuff. Because a lot of times you're paying tax, you're paying shipping, or you got fuel to travel to get it. So just do your research if you're going to put one of these cars together. I know that they sell like the convertible tub, you know, and I've heard a lot of them parts on them cars, you have to use hardtop stuff for it, which honestly, I would just rather have the real car. I know you're going to have to fix rust. You're going to have to, there's a lot of things you're going to have to do to pull off an original Tri Five, unless you got some big money to just go out there and buy one from anywhere from $65,000 all the way to the moon from there, depending on what drivetrain it's got in it and things like that. But I like to get cars essentially where I can afford them. You know, I'll deal with some stuff as long as it's got potential, it's got a good title, it's got the right stuff. I'll find the parts. I mean, I never stop looking for parts. So that's how I got this car is in the shape it's in right now. And believe me, it has come a long way since I brought this car home. I want to think in January of maybe 2018. So either January 2018 or 19. I mess with a lot of Tri Fives, so it's hard to really keep track of them. But if you guys have questions specifically involving a Tri Five Convertible or a Tri Five Nomad, I'm a wealth of knowledge, and I don't want to toot my own horn. I know a lot about these cars, and then even more specific per year, because little pieces of trim and things like that, they change as the years go along. So you might get one of them pieces of trim that goes right at the front of that door where it's smooth at the top, and it might not quite bolt up right. Well, there's a reason, because 1955 is its own specific piece, and then 1956 and 57 was common between them 2 years. So there's a lot to these cars, but you won't find another car that's built with the quality that a Tri Five. I mean, they overbuilt everything. Like, there's 100 different things to make the window go up and down, just on the on your door. So if you guys do have some questions, I'd be more than willing to try to help you figure them out, because them are the two cars I follow the most, the Tri Five Convertible and the Nomad. Primarily the Nomad, that's my first love. But then I was talking to a guy and he had this, and I'm like, well, let me see what this is all about. This is the first, and I've had a lot of cars through my lifetime. This is the first convertible I've ever had of any car. And another thing I wanted to say before I shut the video off, there's not a lot of people that can tell you what I'm about to tell you, but I'm 43 years old, and I have been around and had a 55 Chevy in my life, my whole entire life. Like, my dad was working on a 55 when he had to take my mom to the hospital to have me. So for 43 years, my whole life, I don't know a life where there's not a 55 Chevy in it. So that's why I have 3 55s in the garage. And I'd have 300 of them if my garage would fit, because I could find them. I just don't have no place to put them. So anyways, you guys can like, share, subscribe. You can even hate it. You can dislike it. I'm fine with that also. I'm just trying to tell my story, and I'm trying to just show what I do on the weekends. And, if I can help somebody with my knowledge, I will. Another thing is, you look at this car, you see at the very back, and you got to be familiar with a 55 Chevy Belair, but there's a little piece of trim that connects the back quarter panel trim to the bumper. I call it a ladder because it kind of looks like a ladder. This car was a solid red car when it was new. And you see on this car, there's no trim back there. Your solid Belairs did not have trim back there. So that was just a little piece of knowledge for me, I guess, to show to you. And then one last thing before I let you guys slide. Here's the whole reason for the madness, and I hope you can focus on that. That's a picture of me in the front seat of my dad's 56 convertible, 1956 Chevy Belair convertible. That was a solid Inca silver, solid car, solid paint car, original. But that's me at such a young age. So I was already in trouble back then. So anyways, I just wanted to put a small video out there. If you guys have any questions about, maybe you're just looking at some empty bolt holes on your car where it's like, man, what goes there? You can leave a question in the comments, and I'll help you out, because at this point in my life, there's not a whole lot that I don't know when it comes to a Tri Five. Catch you guys on the next video.